So I was teasing you a little bit on Twitter earlier on today with will he go, won't he go? Because at one point it looked like he wasn't actually going to leave the club, but he has done. Zoltan Horvath has joined Liverpool for his minimum fee release clause of £1.8 million. And you know what stings the most? Instantly, at Liverpool, his value is £15 million. Stings instantly. I know value is obviously a lot to do with reputation of the club and the league, but we could have got so much more money for him if he just accepted a new contract from us. Wasn't to be in the end, but Zoltan, good luck at Liverpool. So hello and welcome back to Around the Block. Hope you're all doing well today and hope you're not too upset with the loss of Zoltan Horvath. He played hardball with us with his contracts, and actually he played hardball with pretty much everyone else. I put screenshots on Twitter earlier. He rejected pretty much every MLS club that came for him. He rejected Valencia, he rejected PSG, he rejected Wuhan as well in China. So he was really very picky with the clubs he wanted to join. But in the end, Liverpool offered him £22,500 a week, and that was enough apparently for him to go to Liverpool. Unfortunately, we can't get him back on loan. I have tried. He doesn't want to come, and Liverpool don't want to let him go on loan, so we can't get him back. But it did add £1.1 million to our transfer budget. That's what the board gave us out of that £1.8 million. And the overall bank balance at Puskas Academy is currently £13.6 million. So next season, we're going to have an awful lot of money to spend, which I'm pretty pleased with. Projection-wise, we're going to be 12 million by the end of the season, they were suggesting. So again, it looks pretty healthy. Next season's transfer budget, it might say down here, £14 million they're suggesting. So next season, we could have a lot of money to spend. So since you guys were last here for the win against Sporting and Ludogorets, and of course those games in between off camera, we've played a few competitive games and a few friendlies as well, and we've won every single one of them, which is absolutely fantastic. Starting off with a 2-1 victory over Diosgyör, Kalmar and Zabo getting the goals in that one, which was great to secure the 3 points. We then had a game in the Hungarian Cup third round, again against a third division side, so pretty much a backup reserve team played that game, won it 1-0, which was good with Attila Horvath scoring the goals. We then had a amazing 8-1 victory over Peripherals. I'm not quite sure why Peripherals was so bad in that game, but we were fantastic. Zoltan Horvath got 1, Attila Horvath got 2, Lenny Gel got 2, Rossili got 2, and Rossili has had bids come in from Man City and PSG over this transfer window. We have rejected them and they've been a bit quiet, but Rossili is a player that is definitely picking up some interest as well, and Kalmar also got 1 in that game too. We then played Monaco in the final group stage game and we won it 3-2, Attila with a brace and Roos with a goal right at the end to secure the victory. So that meant we finished top of our Europa League group. More on that in just a few moments time. We then played some friendlies, which we won all of them, which is great, and today we've got Ujpest and Ferencváros coming up for you. So given we've won every single game since you guys were last here, we still are on top of the table, 5 points clear of Ferencváros in second, which is great. We finished top of our Europa League group after that win over Monaco. Sporting ended up going through after they beat Ludogorets as well, but I completely forgot about this. Obviously, the Euro Cup's having a little bit of a restructure as well, and if we go into the rules here and go for the group stage, if you win the group, you go straight through to the second knockout round and don't have to go through the first knockout round. So we've missed out this first knockout round and we'll be into that second knockout round whenever that takes place. And my last few things to update you on are, of course, transfers. Of course, Zoltan Horvath has left the club. We've got a player going out on loan. No one else coming in just yet, but I think we are just about to confirm Zoltan Horvath's replacement. He can't replace Zoltan Horvath, but a player that's going to be coming into the club who I think will have a good impact on the club and I think will help us out quite a bit. So for £1 million, which is a little bit pricey, we are bringing in Anton Milanov. He is a 21-year-old striker. I think he's Romanian. Is he Romanian? He's Bulgarian. There we go. But we're bringing him in for £1 million, which is a little bit, quite a bit of money, but it's less than we sold Zoltan Horvath for. So we are making a bit of profit in there somewhere. And it's on a very cheap contract too, which I'm pretty pleased with. He's nowhere near the quality of Zoltan Horvath. We're not going to see a 5-star player here, but he is 3-star with 4-star potential, which I think is pretty decent. We needed someone else in there, and Zabo's been playing well, scoring plenty of goals. So this guy's more a backup to Zabo now. He's going to be our first choice striker, I'm going to say. But welcome to the club, my friends. We're having a great time here. Now, we are going to have a little bit of issues with some squad registration, but we are looking to get rid of a couple of players. They will hopefully come through in today's episode, but players that are a bit surplus to requirements, hopefully they'll go. We've got 9 out of our 10 foreign players registered. This guy, Anton Milanov, is going to be number 10 for us. So there we go. Welcome into the club, another striker. I suppose if he wants, he can take number 10. He can take Zoltan's old number, which is a little bit sad, but There we go, you can have it. This is the team that's going to be taking on Puskas today. We've got Serafimovsky in goal with a backline of Sloboda, Brankovic, Gornek and Turitsov. Gornek might not be here for too much longer. His contract expires at the end of the season, so I'm kind of hoping that maybe someone comes in and gets a bit of money for him at the end of this transfer window. Patrick Bolovsky in the CDM position. Huzarik and Rossili starting today because Lenny Gel is injured down there. Although these two can actually swap over. That makes a bit more sense. Kalmar and Horvath on the wings and Zabo up front. And just like that, kickoff is upon us. Of course, drop a like on the video if you're still watching. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you're new around 10. You've not done so already for plenty of Foot Manager content. As the early attack from us not working out too nicely there, but we do have another chance to come forward through Patrick Bolovsky. Great ball into Zoltan Horvath. Not Zoltan, I need to stop saying Zoltan. It's just Attila Horvath now. It's just Attila. He's the only Horvath we've got. Either way, we scored a goal, but it is miles offside from Zabo. I think we all saw that offside, so unlucky there, lads, but great little movement. So now we sort of have to adjust to life after Zoltan Horvath, and I think we should be okay. I mean, he's one player. He scored a lot of goals for us. He was absolutely fantastic, and we wouldn't quite be in the position we're in without him, but I think we've still got a great team that we can improve on, and you know, it's just one player. It's just one player, and I'll try not to cry because he was such a good player, but he was just one player. I mean, I'm sure Zabo is chomping at the bit. That's the word, isn't it? Chomping at the bit. That's the phrase to score some goals. But he doesn't need to score goals. Rossili scores the opening goal of today's game after a bit of a mix-up from the defence there of Puskas. We've got the opening goal of the game. You love to see it. Sloboda got the ball into the middle then. He got it into Rossili, who shot, and then it just bounces around a little bit. They can't clear it. Rossili's there to just pick it up and put it in the back of the net. Easy as you like. So obviously this is the first competitive game we've played after the winter break, so it's good to see the players looking pretty sharp, and hopefully they'll be able to carry this on as Rossili scores an absolute worldie of a goal there. Fantastic stuff from Rossili. You love to see it. As I was saying though, we're looking pretty sharp. We're beating Puskas 2-0, and hopefully we can continue this. That was very clever from... It looked like he hit it with his left foot and then swung his right foot around. That was mental. Either way, hopefully we can carry this form on into the Frankfurt game. Hopefully they're not so sharp. Get a win against them. We could be 8 points clear of them. They're currently not playing right now, though. They're playing later on or maybe tomorrow or something like that. If they play tomorrow, that's a bit of a helping hand to us because they've got one less day to be ready for the game against us. Start the second half, though. Puskas do have a corner, which they've somehow put in the back of a net. It seems to have gone through... Oh, one of their players is lurking there at the near post and he's not been properly marked. It looked like he just went through all our players there, but it looks like the header... Oh, Serafimovsky should have been better there. In fact, whose goal does it go down? It goes down as number 32, actually. The guy who was on the near post wasn't actually affecting the goal at all. It was just a bit of a bad goalkeeping blunder there from Serafimovsky. Oh well, we're still winning it, which is good, although we're not actually creating that many opportunities. I thought we were playing a bit better than this. We are very limited with what we've got on the bench because of injuries, so we've got 5 defenders on the bench, which, not the best. But Zabo only sitting on a 6.6 right now. Attila Horvath can play up front, actually. Let's try that and bring Farkas on that right-hand side instead and see what he can do. Eric Farkas isn't quite the same player he was before he got injured. His ability has taken a big hit to the point where I think it might be worth selling him as Puskas have equalised. This was not part of the plan. What's happened here then? Oh my gosh. Right, okay. We need to go straight up to very attacking. I've clicked on Turitsov for some reason there. Very attacking and get creative out there for the final 5 minutes or so. Not the best result. You know, we were in a strong commanding position in the first half. Second half, we have fallen apart a bit. And is this the Zoltan Horvath effect? Potentially. I mean, at least we didn't lose. We've picked up a point, but it's 2 points dropped in my opinion, really. But it is 10 games in a row without losing, which is a pretty good record. 3 days off before the Peripherals game. They're playing a bit later on in the evening. They're playing against Diosgyör. Come on, Diosgyör. Get a good result and help us out massively. Are they going to? A draw. Okay, well, that's good for us. That maintains that 5-point gap then. So that draw is a little bit of a write-off then. We can actually brush over that a little bit. So hopefully before the Peripherals game, we're going to see some of the transfers that should be happening actually go through. And this is the first one of them. Mazarin is leading the club for £400,000. Not been here that long. He's a decent player, but hasn't played that much this season because Kalmar's been in great form. And there might be someone coming in who is quite the upgrade on Mazarin. So thank you for your time with us, Mazarin. But you're freeing up a foreign player spot as well. It's time for you to move on. We've made a bit of profit off him as well because I think we bought him for, was it like 300,000? 350. We're selling for 400, so a bit of profit. You love to see it. It's not too bad. So hopefully, before this Ferencváros game, we're going to get the new player coming in. And here he is. Just a day later, this guy is coming in. Zeid Sherif. He is a 19-year-old winger. We'll bring him in for, how much does it say here? £650,000, which is pretty cheap, I think. It's a very good deal. He's coming in from a team in Tunisia. I'm not quite sure which team it is. I can't pronounce that. But a team in Tunisia. 4-star current ability, 5-star potential as a left winger, sorry. Can be inverted winger, inside forward, or a winger because he can play with both his feet. You love to see it. I think he's a great deal. The scouts have come through really nicely with this, and hopefully he might fill a bit of a gap that Zoltán Horváth has left behind. You love to see it. Looks like a great player. Send on an intensive language course. Sloboda, please welcome him to the club. That would be absolutely fantastic. Assign a squad number. Where is he? Because he can probably take Mazarin's old number, which was 11 apparently. 11, that's fair enough. Give him number 11. That's absolutely fine. Must be Attila Horváth who's number 7. And then squad registration. We can put him into the club. I say that. Maybe Mazarin had a bit of Hungarian in him because he didn't count towards that foreign player, maybe. Okay, well, in that regard, we have to get rid of someone who is registered as a foreign player. So Shitty Gel might have to just sort of make way briefly. You hate to see it, but we need to get him to the squad. No, Mazarin didn't have any Hungarian in him, but he was registered, so should have counted as a foreign player. So I'm not entirely sure why we've not lost a player there. I think there are 1 or 2 more outs leaving. Inter Milan are... they've offered £3 million for Rossili, rising to £8 million, and the board have accepted it on our behalf. Okay. You hate to see that. That wasn't... That's worrying. So they've offered 1.7 up front and then a load of bonuses. Let's protest the transfer. We'll be weakened by his loss. We'll be delighted to... Okay, they're going to grant the request and reject that. Okay. I feel like they're going to come in with another offer, though, like we had with Tudor Stan at the start of the season. This transfer I am happy with, though. Gita is leaving the club. It's for a very nominal fee, but he's got to leave the club, really. He's not playing games. He's, I think, the third choice right back we've got now. Jordani Jack, I'd rather play Jordani Jack than Gita and things like that. And I think he does count as a foreign player as well, so that should free up a space as well. So accept that. Gita is going and leaving the club. What's this next news, though? PSG, okay, we can actually reject this offer, which is... I'll ignore it for now, because if I leave it for like a week, then it gives them less time to offer more bids and things like that. So I'll leave it, but I'll keep rejecting bids for Rossili for now, because I want to keep him. But I think that's all of the transfer business that was, or should have been coming through, done. We brought those 2 players in, we've got rid of 2 players, so I think that's quite decent. Obviously, let me know down in the comment section what you think to it. I've just had to reject that PSG bid, because it came to a deadline, had to reject it. But he's not happy that I've rejected that, obviously. So first things first, Sloboda, can you please resolve this for me? And he can't resolve that unhappiness. So we now have to talk with Rossili and have a little chat with him. I'm disappointed you blocked my transfer to PSG. A move there would allow me to play in the Champions League. I'd like you to let me discuss terms with them if they bid again. The thing is, I can't really stand in his way. He's a very good player. Very good player. 4-star current ability at 18 years old. He's like the next Tudor Stan, isn't he? But I think better. We'd miss him massively. I mean, you saw what he did in that game. He scored 2 absolutely fantastic goals. He played brilliantly all season. If we could get a lot of money, I'd let it slide. If we offered him for 20 million and see what clubs bid, then I'd be listening a little bit. But we might just say, I don't think you're going to get as much football as you need at PSG. I'll be rejecting them for your own goods. I'll take my chance. They've got more faith in my abilities. That's what he's saying. What? We have to get a replacement for you? I'm not going to wait around. Okay. I don't want to upset him too much. So, I'll offer you out, I've said. He hands in his transfer request. Right, Rossili, I'm going to offer you out to clubs, but for 20 mil. Offer to clubs for 20 mil. And see who bites on that. Either way, it's time to focus on the Ferencváros game instead. The lineup is the exact same, with the exception of Sheriff getting his debut on that left wing today. We're going to see what he can do. And then Huzarik comes in for Bolovski just to rotate them around a little bit. But other than that, the team's the exact same. Right then, kickoff is upon us. Come on, lads. We need the win against Ferencváros. Win this, we go 8 points clear, and that would be absolutely incredible. I'm thinking that maybe next season we need to move away from CDM'd a little bit into attacking midfield. I think use them both. I think the CDM worked really well for us in European football. But I think for those games like, you know, we did 2-2 with Ujpest, I feel like we lacked a little bit going forward. I feel like in those situations, an attacking midfield will be quite good. So to swap between the two, I think would be pretty decent sometimes, depending on which fixture we're playing. Obviously, a game like Ferencváros, I think we do have to stick with the CDM because they are a very good team coming forward and demonstrating it right now as they put the ball into the area but heading it over the bar. Now, earlier on in the season, we had a massive 3-0 victory over them, which was fantastic. Hopefully, we can do something similar today as Turitsov into Attila Horvath plays it across to Brankovic at the back, who brings it forward a little bit. Across to our new signing, Sharif, who puts a great ball across to Attila Horvath, gets it down to Lenny Gel, into Turitsov, back to Horvath. Horvath into the middle, into Turitsov instead, into the middle. Sharif's there, and on his debut, 24 minutes into it, he gets his first goal for the club. Well in, Zied Sharif. You love to see it. Fantastic stuff. Horvath, I thought, was going to cross the ball in here, but he just stops it going out for a goal kick. Plays back to Turitsov, who's unmarked completely. You can just pick out a cross, and that's a very good volley from Sharif. Sharif, not quite sure which way to say it yet, but I'll probably alternate between the two until one of them sort of sticks for a little while. Now, if I'm honest with you, thinking about it, if we win the league this season, all right, I'm kind of thinking that next season will be our last season at the Puskas Academy. Because I feel like if we win the league, that's kind of what we set out to achieve here. We're not going to win a Europa League or a Champions League. We might win a Europa Conference League. However, if we're winning the league, dropping down into the Europa Conference League through all those European qualification rounds will be deemed, you know, a bit of an unsuccessful European campaign if we drop down into the Europa Conference League. So I feel like this would be our last season if we go on to win the league. If we don't win the league title, we lose it. We'll have a full season next year at Puskas Academy. But I think this is the last season we plan to stay at the club for a full time. But next season, we start to look out and be a bit picky with jobs. Now, I'm not going to do what we did at other clubs and just pretty much decide I'm leaving the club and apply for every job possible. I think what we can afford to do is stay at the club next season. I think our contract expires at the end of next season. So we've got one season where we can just keep looking at jobs, and if something comes up that actually looks quite interesting, like a big job in Russia or something like that, you know, something interesting, just as something good comes up, we apply for it. If we get it, we get it. If we don't, we're not too fussed about it. We'll just move on. Keep with Puskas Academy, but if something else comes up which looks good, we'll apply for that. Sheriff on the ball for us right now, though. Can he get 2 goals on his debut? Got tackled on the edge of the area there, but does retain possession. Into Patrick Bolovski, into Sloboda, into Sheriff. Sheriff, will he turn provider this time? Not quite, as Sloboda this time puts the ball in the middle. It's cleared. And our Puskas Academy going to score a goal on the counter-attack. Turitsov gets in there. Good tackling. That might be the end of the highlights. It is, but Ferencváros, for example, they offered us a job, actually, not long ago. I put it on Twitter. Rejected it, obviously, because I'm not going to go to Ferencváros. But if teams start to offer us jobs who are in better leagues, in high positions, and that's when we might start listening as well. Either way, a fantastic win against them. We're now 8 points clear of Ferencváros and ZT in the league. Over halfway through the season now. You've got to say it's ours to lose now. So overall, I think a pretty successful episode, particularly for Sharif scoring there. Offers made for Rossili, £10 million, and the board are accepting them all on my behalf. Well, can you renegotiate this, lads? Make a board... Oh, we can't. Why? What's going on here? Okay, well, make a board request. Finances? Why can I not request this? Okay. Well, that's very bizarre. Looks like we're going to let him go for £10 million. I mean, it's a lot of money. I'm happy with that money, and that's going to help serve us very nicely, but... I feel like we could get a little bit more if these teams are just offering £10 million off the bat. Because we offered out for 20, and then they've come back in with £10 million. I presume there's no bonuses on this either if the board are just accepting it. Oh, you hate to see it. So as well as Zoltan Horvath, it might be time to say goodbye to Rossili as well, which is quite sad. Right, next episode, we're going to go all the way through to the Europa League second knockout round. I think that should be quite interesting. The transfer window will be all over by then. We might bring in another midfielder because I think we're going to need to if Rossili's leaving the club. So look forward to that one too. But until then, have a fantastic evening. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Goodbye.